Everyone knows who you are, David.
Boy, things you miss when you take a day or two off.
You are the spiritual leader of Greater Life Church on Tireman and pillar of the black community. David Hull, everybody.
Did he really pull Do You Know Who I Am?
Oh, big time.
Wow.
Oh, it was a siren fiesta while you were on your siesta.
Don't you know who I am?
Epic.
Wow.
It was tremendous. We got a lot of ground to cover. We're going to wait to get into the Lion stuff, see if any DJ Reader news trickles out. That's who they were hosting. Again, another player with an injury profile, but he's a good player. So we'll wait and see. But Rico has kind of a combo meal. Now, I'm basically going to leave until 3 o'clock. Because if I start talking about this, I'm just going to get angry. I'm going to get angry at a coworker. And then I'm going to get angry at whatever process they use to credential people. And I'm going to get upset because, again, why did Roberto create a song called Limp Bleep City? This is exactly the type of stuff I can't handle, and a coworker did it. Just couldn't, in an A to B conversation, see his way to the conclusion. He couldn't do it. Had to throw in caveats. Had to dip his toe in the water for, I don't know what, fear of reprisal? So I'm going to let Rico do his damn thing because on a serious note, Rico has a very personal angle to it. And then I may rejoin when we get to the part about my coworker because I just can't take certain things. So here's Rico Beard, everybody.
No. Yeah, it wasn't the coworker that asked that question.
No, but okay. I got a problem with what he wrote. That chicken bleep.
Yeah. No, Mike, I want
chicken bleep column.
I want you to participate in this column that Wojo wrote. And
horrible.
I think Wojo is the sentiment of everybody, even though Michigan only won 8 games this year. Sounds like Juwan Howard's coming back. Now, why? I have no idea. I don't know why you would want him back. But nothing that happened in this athletic department in U of M has made sense to me all season long, from your point guard being halfway pregnant to now it sounds as if they're going to treat this year like a COVID year. Because Juwan had the heart surgery, they're not counting this season. That's what it sounds like. And Wojo wrote an article. If you're a Michigan fan, I would be upset. I would be angry because you need to move on. Because you don't have a future coming down the line. There's other teams. Rutgers, you look at their recruiting class. It's like number 2 in the nation. They're going to be good. They suck this year. Michigan, you suck this year, and I don't think it's going to be better. Mike, they won 3 games. They were 3-1 to start off the season. I think they finished 5-23.
That's correct. It's the worst season in school history. They were awful. He was completely outmatched. They never had halftime adjustments. They got their doors blown out in the second half of games routinely.
His press conferences were bizarro world where he told the people of Illinois, you're welcome because I didn't take Terrence Shannon from you.
So do you want to start with your part and then I'll get to the Wojo part?
Oh, yeah.
Why don't you do your part? Because we just gave you the backdrop. Michigan, and I know no fan wanted them to win last night. I know you're done. You're tired. You're exhausted. You want the season over. Hey, shout out. So do I with my team. The point is, how do we end up with this as a question at the post-game press conference?
That was a real question at the press conference. That's not doctored audio. This is where we are, that there are some who feel like Juwan Howard should be back. I think that's the most ridiculous question I've heard in my life. Because when you break it down, Juwan, you won 8 games. You didn't preface that, whoever asked that question. I wish I could credit that person, but I don't know who it was. Now, to Juwan's credit, he deflected from that ridiculousness, okay? As I stated earlier this week, is there injustice in the world? Absolutely. Is everything an injustice? No, it's not. Going 8-24, that's just bad coaching. If you are a white coach and you go 8-24, you're going to get asked the same questions. Ben Johnson from the Minnesota head coach, they just lost to Michigan State. He's had 3 straight losing seasons. That's why he's on the hot seat. Mike Woodson, coaches for Indiana. Indiana basketball, either you're winning the national title or the season's a failure. He knew that taking the job. That's why he's on the hot seat. Juwan Howard, You're on the hot seat because you're 8-24. You're not on the hot seat because of the color. It's not the white media. And oh, by the way,
you missed the tournament with lottery picks.
Yeah, you had two lottery picks. No, you had 2 lottery picks and Hunter Dickinson. And you still didn't make the tournament. But that's not because, yeah. Oh, by the way, there was a coach who did get fired, Chris Holtman, Ohio State. He was white. Where that question came from, don't know. Ridiculous. Never should have been asked. They should have taken the microphone from that man. Juwan should have just stopped him halfway through the question. But, bro, get to your question. Get to your question.
Get to the Wojo part. Wojo writes that it's complicated with Juwan Howard. And then if he were in charge, he probably would. No. There's no probably. There's nothing to talk about. Juwan Howard should be fired. Full stop. End. There's nothing complicated. There's not. I don't want to hear about it. I don't want to hear about the health.
No. When your football team almost doubled the amount of victories the basketball team had, that's problematic.
It's the worst season in school history. The recruiting is off the rails. They had Hunter Dickinson last year. They had first-round draft picks last year. Didn't make tourney. And come on, man. This is why we are Cialis City. Nobody can write the column that just says Juwan Howard, stink, fired, out. It's not a crime. The data's there to back it up. He won with Beeline's players. Kudos. He had a great recruiting class that underachieved. Then he totally wasted a team last year, and this year's the worst season in school history. And goodbye. But nobody can write it.
No.
And after the post game, that's the type of question that gets asked.
Right. Because I think if you're an NCAA team, you should probably steer away from former NBA players who have no coaching experience. Not working out with Juwan. Didn't work out with Patrick Ewing. Stackhouse just got fired from Vandy.
And Penny Hardaway stinks.
And Penny Hardaway, yeah, not that great. You may want to steer away. We'll just get the former player and he'll fix everything. That's not how it works. This team, this fan base deserves better.
I have a question. I mean this. What is complicated about Juwan Howard's job status? If you're a fan, how Wojo can say it's complicated. Well, I don't get to make the call, but if I did, I'd probably just write the words. If it were my decision, I'd fire him. It sucks. Hell, I don't care if Bob says he likes Juwan. It doesn't matter to me. It's the worst season in school history. Where are the recruits? Where's the product? It's multiple years of underachievement. And frankly, a guy who looks completely overmatched. What's their record in one-possession games? Like 1-15?
Yeah.
How'd they look in the second half this year? Every game.
It was automatic money. They would be up, take the money line of the opposing team. And other than Wisconsin, Michigan lost every game.
What are we doing? What is wrong with people?
Because, okay, get your chair drop ready.
No,
Here's
I'm
why.
not.
No. Here's
I'm not
why.
gonna do it.
Because if you say mean things about Juwan this year, you look like a pariah because
Why?
he had the heart surgery.
I don't care.
And you don't look like you're sympathetic.
No, I'm not.
And you look like you just don't care.
No,
you
I'm
only
not,
care
because
about
guess
sports.
what? Mark D'Antonio had a heart attack in the middle of the season. Did we not continue to talk about game-to-game decisions being made and his performance as head coach?
All right.
I don't care. Okay?
Bro,
My middle name's Pariah. I don't care. The man was on the sidelines. And then, even when he was available to coach, he punted coaching one day and let the real coach of the team and Phil Martelli do it. I don't want to hear it.
No, I mean, even just his entire personality is just like, I don't know what's going on with Juwan. I mean, coming to his press conferences, you know what? You see this stat? If Hart was a stat, we would have won the game. Juwan, you just lost by 20.
Yeah, it's not, and you didn't. Look at the program health. Look at every metric you measure a coach by. And then you get the columnist in this city who we work with. I mean, occasionally we work with, because I don't even know if Bob works here anymore. You can't just write Juwan should be fired. Why am I reading articles talking about, well, Juwan, he's got a vision for how he's going to fix this thing. What? 8-24? That's la-la land.
Oh, Mike, if you listen to this, Juwan fully believes he's coming back. Well, he talks the future.
I don't understand it, and that's where I would love to hear from Michigan fan.
I remember telling David, and David was like, no, he's not. And then finally Dave was like, yeah, you're right.
And the thing that would bother me the most with a question like that in the postgame, if I were a black man, you're cheapening race. You are cheapening instances of racism.
Because you're basically saying it's okay to only win 8 games because it's black kids in the stands. And it's like,
tremendous.
No, if you're bad, you're bad.
Oh, and there were 3 black coaches who were all in the hot seat. Yeah, all 3 happened under a chief. Now, Ben Johnson may have saved his gig by having, wait for it, a winning season. Mike Woodson is at the Alabama, at least in their mind, of college basketball. Indiana, without a run, won't even make the tourney. Growing up, it was unthinkable for Indiana to not be in the tourney. They were a power.
Right.
They have expectations of being a power. John Calipari's on the hot seat. They're ranked. They might win the SEC tournament. Why? Because he had the audacity to lose like 3 games at Rupp.
Right.
But
this guy came out, and when I heard the question, I thought it was, I'm like, okay, somebody just put that audio in there. No, that was real audio. That was a real question. I'll give Juwan credit. He kind of brushed it off and just was like, yeah, and talked about his team. It had nothing to do with people coming after you because, oh, by the way, Chris Holtmann, Ohio State coach, fired.
And he probably got a raw deal.
He did. And they actually started winning after they fired him.
But he's a white guy.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, that doesn't fit the question. So here's the deal. We'll throw the number out. We wanted to get this out of the way. I have nothing to say about Michigan State. I did not celebrate today. I think if you are, you're a moron. I think this ridiculous tournament streak has poisoned your level of expectation. Do whatever you want. I don't have to throw a sprinkle party.
Ski you, ma.
Exactly. But I'd love to hear from Michigan fan on it.
I've never heard so many ski you mas in my life.
How is there any doubt about what should happen with Juwan Howard? How is Wojo's column real? How is it even a question whether the man should be fired or not? I don't know what planet I live on. 248-539-9797. We'll get to the Lions in the 3 o'clock. I also have some sound for you on Javi Baez. Oh. And I think it's a step in the right direction.
Javi or Harvey?
Both. Ooh. We'll get to that later on as well. Rico, Church.
Ski you, ma.